right, we should be live.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. All right, you with me?
Mm-hmm. Hear me?
All right. Hey guys, sorry for the delay today. Elon meditated before and was out in La La Land. So sorry for the 15-minute, 60-minute late start. All right, so today is Q&A day. They're here still. What's up, Patricio? What's up, Kathleen? You guys know the drill. If there's questions, please start dropping them in. Yeah. Guy got worried about me. Oh, Matt.
Yeah, I want to hear about your experience, brother.
Oh, that's awesome.
I didn't get to read your post quite yet, but I want to.
No, I got through about the first quarter of it and then had to stop reading it. Would love to hear your experience, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do
Maybe
we
you want
want
to drop? Do you want to maybe even drop him a link so you can come on here live
Yeah, let me see.
if he's up for it?
Matt, I'm going to drop you a link if you're up for it. All right, so maybe he'll be joining us here. All right, we got a first question.
Joining us here.
Bro, is that you with the audio?
Yeah. I killed it.
All right, first question from Jessica Stables. Hi guys, I have a question. I'm wanting to sign up for the Ascension program, but tight on money. Still learning how to manifest like a motherfucker. I love that. I've heard you say that you send your students to the Landmark Forum. Should I go ahead and do that before signing up? You want to go?
No, go ahead.
All right, so you can do that if you want. Absolutely. It's one of the things that we send people to if they haven't already done it. It's just something that we feel provides one of the most valuable experiences in a very, very short period of time. So if you do that beforehand, if you do that beforehand, then it's something we can absolutely work around and figure out what to send you to first. You know, we've had people in the Ascension program that have already done it, so it's no big deal. If it's something that's up your alley and it's calling to you, by no means, you need to wait to the Ascension program to do it, if that's your question. I'd like to talk more about manifesting, and I want to share a couple stories with you here about people that have recently been with us in the Ascension program and what occurred to them. I want you guys to understand that money is an energy. Money is pure and simple and allowing of. And when you are in flow, you manifest things incredibly quick. So a lot of times people start working with us, specifically in the Ascension program, and they have massive breakthroughs around money. So I want to explain a couple of things around money and how to have massive breakthroughs around money. The first thing you have to understand is, like I said, money is an energy. So Jessica, if I were to ask you, have there been other things in your life that you haven't been able to do or couldn't participate in because of money as the thing? I'm assuming that you would say, and please chime in, that you would say absolutely, money has stopped me from doing certain things. So the conversation goes something like, I would like to do X, Y, and Z, but X. So like, I would like to go on vacation, but money. I would like to go on this, but time, whatever it is. So one of the things that you can look at is that thing is not new, and that thing is not going to stop. It's not going to be like all of a sudden like, oh yeah, I'm done with this being an aspect of my life. It's going to be there until you do something about it. And the only way to have a breakthrough around money is to create a breakthrough around money. And what I mean by that is when something shows up in your life, and Jessica, maybe it's the Ascension program, or maybe it's something else, or for anybody that's listening, maybe, just place yourself in that thing. When there's something in your life that is an absolute, your heart goes, fuck yes, like I am doing this, right? The next logical thing to happen is your mind will chime in, always. And it can happen within a half a second. It can happen within 5 seconds. It's going to happen. So as soon as that happens, what you need to understand is, or you can get to understand, is that that thing will never shut up. It's always going to be there. If you can start trusting your heart, and when your heart says yes, you just listen and say yes, without having to have everything figured out, like the time, the money, the circumstance, the everything. There's never a perfect circumstance to do anything. What we've learned and have been practicing for a while now is to start to listen to that different voice. And if any of you guys have read Stealing Fire or Rise of the Superman, you kind of know the voice I'm already talking about. It's that voice when you're in flow state that just will come, and it will sound different. It will be more precise. It's going to be quieter, and it'll be more precise. It will be more clear. It'll be more, you will know that it is a true and honest voice. It's not like this one that you hear. It's you feel it. When you start following that and you just start saying yes, life responds with yes. Always. I just did an interview with this amazing woman, Tasha, who started a movement here in New York City. And she started a party for people that just want to dance. So everything in New York City is all about club life, and clubs are big, and table service and velvet ropes, and everything is like a little pretentious and whatever. And there's certain crowds that go to these clubs and this club and this club. And she wanted to create a movement, and she realized that dance is a uniter. And so she created a party called the Get Down. It wasn't called that originally. And people come there, they don't drink, and they just come for 3 hours and they dance. And it's an after work party before the club scene starts. It's from 7 to 10. And she started a movement, and she went from having 10 people show up once a month to now having 300 to 500 people show up every 2 weeks.
Damn.
To just dance. And they come in their work suits to yoga outfits to costumes to young, old, black, white, gay, this, everything, just to be there together. And there were so many times that she was building this that it wasn't working. They started and like 10 people would show up and 15 people would show up. And she thought that, maybe this wasn't the right thing. Maybe it wasn't. And what she kept going back to was listening to the heart and listening to that inner voice that told her to keep going, and opportunity and person and flow after flow. And she just stuck with it. And in saying yes, the universe responded with abundance, because the universe is always going to test you. It's always going to say, hey, here's an opportunity. And you go, well, I don't have the money to do that opportunity. And it goes, okay. It's not going to stand there and show you this new amazing life without you being willing to trust and dive and lean into that world. So Jessica, I'm sharing this with you as an opportunity for you to have the breakthrough around money. So I'll just share a quick story with you. One of the people that just joined our Ascension program about a month ago or so, we had an amazing conversation, and he was like, I'm a yes. I said, listen, don't do anything unless you're a fuck yes. Like when you're a fuck yes, do this. And he goes, I'm a fuck yes. So I was like, all right, great. So you're in. So I'm waiting for him to sign up, doesn't sign up, this and that. I check in with him. I'm like, what's happening? And his whole thing was about taking action in his life. That was the breakthrough. And he got stuck with the money thing, right? Like he got really excited, then hung up the phone, and then the brain kicked in, and the brain went, well, this is so expensive. This is such a huge investment. Da, da, da. So I come back, I just let him be in that. I didn't chase him. I didn't say anything. I might have sent him like a book to read or something like that. And then I come back from Colombia and I just felt inclined to send him this message, which was like, look, this is the thing that's been stopping you your whole entire life. You now have a choice, and this is the choice. And I'm here to support you, and I'm here to help you create the life that you want. You need to say yes, and you need to take the first step. And it's the thing that's been stopping you all this time, et cetera, et cetera. And I just left him there. And I don't hear from him for like 4 or 5 days. And then I finally, on like the 5th day, I get a message from him, and he's like, it wasn't that I was ignoring you or avoiding you, just the video that you sent me hit home. I actually watched it a few times, and I'm ready. I sent him the link. He signed up. So he signs up in the morning. And then a week later, we're doing our interview process. Everyone that starts in our Ascension program, we do this interview process. And we go through the whole interview process. And at the end, he's like, hey, do you have another few minutes? I just want to tell you a quick story. I was like, yeah, sure. So he tells me how he went to work after signing up for our Ascension program, goes to the gas station, and on the gas station, he pulls out money from his pocket, and a $20 bill flies out of his hand. And at some point, he's literally on his hands and knees trying to find this $20 bill, and he hears my voice in his head go, you're attached to money. Stop being attached to money. And he just kind of gets up and goes, wow, this is exactly what Elon's been talking about. So he lets it go and realizes that, that $20 bill was meant to go to somebody else, and creates whatever he does in his head, fills up with gas, goes to work. Gets to work, and his boss calls him in his office, and just to back up a step, the Ascension program is $5,000 a quarter or $2,000 a month. He chose the $5,000 a quarter. So goes to work. Boss calls him in, and he's like, listen, we've been doing a lot of reorganization. We've noticed how you've really picked up the slack while we've been doing this. And as a thank you, we just wanted to give you $5,000 bonus. So this is, mind you, like 2-3 hours after he registers, $5,000 magically shows up in his life. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. He goes, it got better. I was like, okay, tell me more. So 2 or 3 days later, he gets a letter from his accountant. They made some sort of error or did something with his taxes, and instead of them having to pay, he was now getting a refund for an additional $7,000. Meaning that in the span of like 3-4 days, out of thin air from completely unknown sources, he received $12,000. This was before he even got on a coaching call with us. And this is what I'm saying to you guys. When you're a yes, this is the kind of magic that is awaiting you. It just takes you being bold, you taking action, such that the universe can go, you know what? Here you go. So I hope that helps, Jessica. Bro, is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think that's all good. I mean, David, comes to mind too, and I actually don't know what the circumstances around the money that came through to him. But we had a conversation with him where, it's always interesting for me with people when they come with any specific issue, and you ask them whether it's in the feel space or in the thought space or in the language space, and there's like the immediate knee-jerk reaction as to what's creating that problem for them. And they've had that reaction for so long that they stop investigating whether it's actually something else. So for most people, it's like time and money is like a very quick knee-jerk reaction, but it might be your health. It might be a lot of what I hear is I'm introverted. I'm shy at first, and then they like open up, like people say like stuff like that. And I'm not saying it's not valid, right? Like all that stuff is there. It's just like when you investigate further, you're going to find that there's like a core, more of a core issue. And it's not like you're ever going to find the core. You're going to keep peeling it, and you're going to, find different ways to articulate it. And a different articulation often gives you access to something that you couldn't see before. Like, so we had an issue with not an issue, but like one of our clients had a certain concern about like the coaching program. And of course it became like this money issue. And then, it just keeps unraveling, and you start seeing it's like we had the relationship over here and the relationship over there. And it's like uninvestigated, like that's going to keep running the show like endlessly. So, one of our participants has been wanting a breakthrough around money. And I know this last week he received like $8,250 like out of the blue, right? Is that so?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just interesting. We talk about blockages. It's not just like mindset and action that you're taking in life. It's something consistent with what you're allowing as an energy flow to you and away from you. And when we say blockage, you're literally like cinching the hose of possibility. And you're narrowing your vision, you're narrowing your field, you're narrowing your energy, and you're saying, here's how I'm supposed to receive, here's how I get happy, here's how I get joyful, here's the way it comes to me. And then the universe is like, that's not how you're supposed to receive this thing, and it just doesn't end up coming. So it's like that ability to get into surrender, into letting go, into taking bold action that's consistent with what's truly in your alignment. That's usually far beyond what the mind can conceptualize all by itself. So this is just, something I'd kind of throw in the mix over there. Just something to look at, like, what's your feeling around money? What's your feeling towards people who have money? What's your feeling about the relationship your parents had about money, or what you learned the relationship is about money? Maybe it was like, I have to work really hard, or like money is the root of all evil. And there's like an intrinsic belief and feeling that's associated with. And then oftentimes that's what leads us to believe that, we don't want that energy. So a lot of people think that like rich people are evil, or they're greedy. And because they don't want to be evil and or greedy, they can't attract money to themselves, because it would say that about them. And again, it's just like making all those little connections and saying like, oh, okay. And then, well, how does that feel? And does that feel good? And is that in alignment with what the experience that I'm looking for, and all that kind of stuff? And it's just amazing how fast stuff can happen when we let all that go. So I know we have Matt waiting in the wings. Do you want to pop him out here?
Sure.
Cool. All right, Matt, I'm going to bring you out here now because I can't wait to hear the story. Should be joining us.
Participants. Oh, you're bringing them out? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love that picture.
Matt, are you here?
Yeah, but I cannot change the picture.
Oh, hold on. That's such an awesome picture.
I mean, you're free to come out on video too, brother, if you want to, only.
There
voila. Oh, look at this place. Look at this guy. That's it.
Namaste.
Namaste. Awesome. What's up, man?
Wow, the life is beautiful. Magic.
Wow, look at his face.
Oh my God, you're glowing, dude. Just to give everyone context who's listening, I just want to give everyone context a little bit. So you may have heard me mention Vipassana in the past. It's a 10-day silent meditation. It's done all over the world. It's completely volunteer based. No one pays to go to these programs. It's completely funded by people. It's actually, I give money to 2 organizations, and one of them is the Vipassana organization. Just because I got so much value from it. For me, it was like, to even give this to a few people a year, know that I'm financing that makes me feel like I'm earning my angel wings. So if you've been, if you're in our ethos, you probably heard me talk about it. There's a YouTube video that some people love and some people hate. And then, so obviously to our students, it's one of the things we've talked about in great detail. And Matt just finished his, so I'd love to hear about your experience.
I don't know when I can start. It's like I see now the magic of the world. Now, actually, I feel everything. I can see the thing in other people. And maybe it's strange, but actually I see myself like a matrix. I don't know how, when, but it just happened. But yes, Vipassana, first 3 days was hard, especially for my body. Position not going anywhere, pain all around, but and 4th, 5th day starting changing. The things started changing, and first it was that I starting realizing about that everything will change, or everything changing in our life, our emotions, all everything, material, body, souls, everything change, everything come and everything go, arise or fall, and it's beautiful when you see this magic, and when you feel. Actually, everything is it about feeling, and in this Vipassana course actually teach you how to start feeling your body, your feelings, and everything. So
tell me, as far as like your personal experience now, how long has it been since you've left?
1.5 days.
Okay, so you'll land eventually back on the ground. He's like a rocket ship floating in space right now.
Yeah.
It's you know what? It's a lot like doing a medicine journey, but because it's self-actualized, I think it's even grander in terms of I guess the shock or disbelief for both the mind and the body to how deep one can go without taking any substances at all. I mean, I'm not really sure exactly what your experience is, because I've seen everybody kind of have different experiences with it. I'll also just tell you from my own experience, it takes months to truly appreciate really what this does for you, because it's going to bring stuff. It's going to keep bringing stuff up. I know for me, it led to significantly greater sensations and sensitivity with people, and empathy, like extreme empathy with everybody, every living creature, every living person. And because of like the heightened sensory acuity in the body, I felt like I could literally like absorb people's energy into my body and just like have the experience with them. It was profound in many, many ways. So what do you see right now, just as like in your physical experiences, or something that's shifted, something new that's possible, anything like that?
Actually, I asked the teacher what's happening with me, and the main thing what's happening, it was not the cleaning or that I will have, or that I could have some strange sensations, or maybe like you. Actually, after seven days, yes, I started getting the visions for future. For my future, for what can I do, how can I be, how can I share myself, my knowledge, how can I help other people, what can I do the next step for the business. And the 8th day was even more intensive and more scary for me, and actually I started feel very scared. I start feeling the fear because I didn't know if this is okay. Because Vipassana is about observing your body and your emotions or your feelings. And I actually, more than half of a day, I had only these visions. And in 8 days was really in details, how to create something, how to funnel, how to talk to people, how to empower people, how to everything. I just get the manual. And not like before the course, when my analytic mind was just how to, what about that? Can I do this or that? Or what about now or when? I just get it. I don't know how. I cannot explain.
Yeah, it's definitely so in the field. It'll take you a few months to find language to really articulate the experience. It took me months. I walked out of there and I was just like, okay, so I'm going to be a blissed out crazy person for a while. Everybody just relax. I will eventually come back to earth. And it's just, honestly, it's like enjoying the space, because how often do we get to sit and, if you read Stealing Fire by Stephen Cutler, they call it flow state, but they also call it ecstasis. It's like a feeling of ecstatic joy and bliss. Mm-hmm. And it's like, run that as long as it runs. And my offering would be, with all these experiences, because it's an emotional feeling experience, not to get attached to the emotional and feeling experience of it, because then like emotions always change, feelings always change. Yes. And then to make that one right and this one wrong, it puts you back into the loop of aversion and craving,
Definitely. Actually, right, this, I get it from all this, that nothing is permanent, everything's changed. And I am aware that also this, my hype and my positive energy now eventually will go, and there will come something other. So yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm super interested over the next few months, just what unfolds for you, because it's like this like sticks you right into like a synchronistic state. Let's go upstairs, so it's like chakra alignment. It's the same thing that medicine will do. It will align chakra, and then like synchronicity starts showing up, and it's just like life takes on this effortless kind of magic. So yeah, please stay in touch and let us know
definitely
how it keep opens up. I love hearing this stuff.
I will.
Yeah. And by the way, and if it becomes challenging or like non-pleasant sensations or anything like that, it just is what it is. And I wouldn't, don't put yourself into a concerned state over what arises. When you do that much internal work, stuff is bound to show up.
Yes. Thank you.
Brilliant, brother. Thank you for coming out here.
Thank you for everything what you give me, and definitely we are in touch.
Absolutely. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you for coming out here and sharing.
Love you, man.
All
Enjoy
right,
the ride.
Yes, thank you.
We'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Let's see.
I think you have to...
I don't know.
Demote? Okay. Matt, I think you have to actually pop out yourself. I don't think we can...
I got it.
You got him? Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. All right, man. That's super, super awesome. So happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. So any other questions for today about anything at all? This topic, other topics? Always happy to talk about meditation or any of these other experiences. Yeah. And for any of you guys who are in our program who are asking, absolutely, our intention is the second half that everybody would actually go and experience Vipassana. Even Elon actually hasn't done it quite yet. As a father, it's technically pretty difficult to find 10 days off radar. I came out of there and I said it was the single best experience I ever had, and I maintained that. And the only thing that even comes close to me is what we did in Colombia this past March, and I think that was the first time I had an experience that exceeded what I'd experienced at Vipassana. And I think there's something to be said about self-actualizing versus being substance-based actualization, just because that you have the capacity to internally go to those places through what honestly is a very simple practice, believe it or not. And what was funny for me is I came out of there with this I think it's always when you have these really ecstatic experiences. I know we came out of Colombia and it's this is baked in. And in many respects it is. It's the rubber band thing, right? It's you stretch the rubber band, you stretch it so hard that even when you let go, it does not return to its original shape and form. It's bigger than it was. Yep. And yet when you're pulled that far out, you're oh man, this is sensational. And even with Colombia, there's been some retraction for sure for me. And yet I know that I'm nowhere near where I was before. My understanding, my comprehension, my level of feel, my level of ability to play in both the masculine and the feminine energies has really transformed. I feel I'm at a new level of responsibility with everything. And Vipassana was like that for me too. It was just such a big experience for me that even when I kind of came down off my peak state, it was still, I was wow, that was profoundly cellular altering.
Yeah, I have to just say that this is the first time I've had Colombia was the first time I've had any sort of experience where the comeback or the bounce back, whatever you want to call it, hasn't been that. It just, I feel like I'm expanding constantly. And while maybe I think the thing that's missing, or like at the heightened state is missing, is that feeling of connection and oneness to everything. The being able to see the energies in the same way and all that stuff. Honestly, other than that though, it stayed, and I gave up after like a few weeks waiting for it to disappear. And I was like, well, why would I do that? Like, fuck that. That's a bullshit conversation. I choose that this is my new reality, and it's definitely stayed that way. I think obviously when you're in that space for a week, like anything else, right? Anytime we've done week-long courses with Landmark, with the Wisdom Division, you're also in a super heightened aware state because you've shut out all of these other things, and you're just in a moment of focusing on your higher self and your greatest good and all that stuff. And the environment and the people and all that stuff weighs in. And then you come back, and even though you're doing similar things in life, it's definitely, it's nowhere near having come back to quote unquote the bounce back.
Yeah, I have to agree. Cool.
All right, guys. Any other questions? And thank you, Matthew, by the way, for the shout out for the Have It All podcast.
Yep. Yeah, I saw somebody else just posted about it also.
It's growing, guys. Honestly, it's something we obviously love to do. It's our way to share this information with the world. If there's any way that you guys want to help this conversation get out in the world, I know these are not the everyday conversations, and I know people on other podcasts aren't having these kind of conversations because I listen to them. So if you feel like this is a message that you want to be a part of, the best way that you could do that is just share the podcast with other people, whether it's friends, family, on social media. Anytime that you guys share, that sends these cosmic ripples out, and that makes a huge, huge impact in the world. So we love, love, love when you guys either share an episode or a video or a picture, or just tell your friends about it, whatever works for you. We'd love and cherish that.
Yeah, and I'll just add it to the previous conversation. There's significant science, and that's what I love about Stealing Fire, is that they're starting to quantify and show real trackable data about eliciting flow and ecstatic states, what they're calling ecstasis. And if you are seeking that, whether you're comfortable with taking plant medicines, and it really is a medicine. I even don't like calling it a substance, because it occurs to me more like it's a drug than a medicine of some kind. And when you take it, it's very clear about the healing properties of what it's doing to you, both physically, mentally, on a spiritual level, etc. If you've never been involved in breath work, if you've never been involved in ecstatic dance, if you've never done a sweat lodge, if you've never done deep meditation work, whether it's a immersion experience in transcendental, or you go do a Vipassana experience, these things will lead you there. And I don't think any education is one and done with anything. Like, something could pop you open, and then something can take you down a much deeper rabbit hole. And at the end of the day, it's just looking at what is it that truly feels good for you and aligns for you and your experience. And just because Elon and I say some experience has been great for us and it doesn't feel good for you, it might just not be your thing. There's definitely a movement on this planet towards a generational, and I would even say species-wide awakening. I don't think it's a coincidence that Conversations with God is coming out, right now, the way it is with that conversation. If you haven't read the new book, the way that Stealing Fire is coming out right now, it seems like the conversation has suddenly shifted from how do we master the mind to much deeper work in terms of like the feeling and chakra alignment and manifestation abilities and this feeling of oneness. And if you haven't had those experiences, I really would look at, you could do whatever you want. So this is not like a demand by any stretch, but it's an invitation. I invite you to take a look at any kind of experience that you can get. I'm sure within, at least an hour or two drive of your home today, something is available that can give you at least some feeling in that direction, so you can get a taste of what we're talking about. I truly believe that once that's tasted, the future of your life is going to completely change. It's just such an alternate experience from what you see day to day in media and what you see day to day from people talking about. And I truly believe that what we call like average human or normal human, whatever the fuck that means. I hope that when we look back 10 years from now, that these conversations we go, this is what an average human looks like. The weird becomes the norm, because when you look at yoga, you look at so many of these practices that have been around for thousands of years. In the States in the 90s, if you did yoga, you were a total freaking weirdo. And today, if you're not doing yoga, you're the weirdo. And that's so beautiful. And granted, it's not mostly done here in its pure form and for the pure reasons. Even so, I'll take it. I'll take it in, whatever form or whatever breakthroughs that causes. So if you have any questions about, experiences that might align for you, please feel free to reach out to us. A lot of our coaching in general is when you truly let go of the stuff that's been holding you back your entire life, you immediately enter an ecstasy state. The feeling of space and nothingness is an access point to ecstasy for sure. So, even if it's you just want your weekly tune-ups with us and there's things that are holding you back and you want to manifest physically, there's plenty of people here in the comment box who I'm sure would happily give you opinions on our coaching programs and what that's provided for them. So either reach out to us. You can go to SatoriPrime.com/coaching to find out more about our group coaching programs. We also provide year-long programs, one-on-one programs, and we're here to create with you what feels good about the future that you desire to move into.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of future, Matt's asking a question for me: can my next step be the Landmark Forum, or do you recommend something else?
That's coming from Matt?
Yeah.
I do think it's a good idea still. I think we've mentioned this before. I live out in Southern California, and I see a lot of people that do strictly the heart work, the right brain work. The issue for me is when you haven't trained the mind, it tends to get in the way. I truly believe because my Vipassana experience was so big because my mind had been that trained. I saw a lot of people really, really struggle with that aspect while they were in the program. So I do think it's appropriate, Matt. Like at the end of the day, it's mind, body, soul training. It's not like because Elon and I are doing vibrational frequency training and channeling and honing into all that I've lost my interest in how the mind is working. Like I just invested 36 hours in books with Joe Dispenza and like looking at latest neuroscience data and case studies that align with, things that occur personally for us in our lives in terms of our relationships and everything. The whole system is interesting to me. Until I leave this physical body, I'm still at the effect of my mind until I'm not. And to the moments where I've gotten relief, like total and complete relief from mental programming, have probably been the most beautiful moments of my life. That was Vipassana at the end of it, was one of them for sure. And you have that look on your face right now too, of like the mind is just like taking a back seat. And that's when like a person's just joyful because they're not creating stories and they're not creating attachments and mostly about yourself. Right. It's like, well, it's easy to love myself when I'm being present to my beauty. And then it's easy to love other people when you're present to that also. So yeah, I definitely think it's a great idea for you, Matt. It's a great idea for anybody. Go train the hell out of your mind. Yeah,
100%. And I think what the reason, so going back all the way to Jessica's first question, and the reason that we send people, think about this. It's like we are coaches. I think we're very, very great coaches, and we're still sending people to Landmark. Why is that? Right? Theoretically, like we could do all that stuff ourselves, right? What Landmark and all these experiences do is it adds depth and a level of training. Guy and I you've probably never, I hope you guys don't get this impression for us that we're like the know-it-all gurus or we think we have life figured out. In fact, we're right there with you along the same path. What I think we do really well is we experience a lot of stuff. We are just a yes. We're a yes to everything. And we'll try it. We'll make up our own mind about whether it's great or not, effective or not. And then we'll come back and share that experience, however that is. So Landmark is incredible in that it gives you practicality to a lot of the stuff that you've read and seen or heard. So if you're someone that's reading a ton of books, it will make those books more effective. If you're watching a bunch of YouTube videos or listening to podcasts, it will make those more effective. It gives you tools to be able to implement in your life very quickly that which you hear and see. And for both of us, it was such a line in the sand moment. I mean, both of us, it felt like we were unplugged from the matrix. And I think for the price that you pay, which is anywhere, I think it's like 600, depending on where you are in the world.
700, depending on the location, yeah.
Say around $600 for 3 full days of training by some of the best, most trained human beings on the planet. It's an incredible experience. And every single person that we've sent from our Ascension program to it, it allows us to go so much deeper, so much faster with them, because now we have a foundation that we can work on top of that just allows us to like get through a bunch of the bullshit. Because the whole idea of our Ascension program is that in 12 months, you're unrecognizable to yourself. We're able to do in 3 months with people what takes normal human beings decades to do. And yeah, it's something that I think for a long time we'll continue to use. It's just it's an incredible resource.
I agree.
All right.
Okay. All right, my friend. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody who was here, and Matt for coming out to share. And guys, if you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to personally message me or Elon. You can also message support@SatoriPrime.com. That'll go through our intercom system, and one of us or Priscilla will get back to you promptly.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much.
Next time we talk, I'll be in Bali.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.